everyone, welcome. Today is Hump Day, Wednesday, June 8th, 2022. I am Solid Blue Sister, and this is My Turn to Talk. Hello, Frankie, welcome. How are you? Today, you are number one. Hey, Ninja Bunny, you are number two. Welcome, welcome. Yes, Frankie, you made it. You are number one. Okay. And to anyone who is listening over on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, welcome, welcome. Michael, welcome. Number three today. You all, one day I am going to start exactly at 1 o'clock. But I'm usually finishing up conference calls and running to get tea and water and all that other stuff. So I apologize. Mr. B, great times. Welcome, welcome. And I hope you, actually, Heiko, you're early because I was a little earlier today. Could you please send me your email again? Yes, I will. Yes, I will. I'm going to stop that and I'm going to put it in the chat again. It's real simple. Friendly differences at Gmail. Jimmy, welcome back 2 days in a row. I am honored. And you got a compliment. Yesterday from Shy Lady. You got a compliment. She liked your conversation. Okay, so I am going to get started and everyone else will trickle in. So today I want to talk about validation. And basically what I mean is only if you understand. Is it important to validate someone only if you understand them? And welcome, Juju. And what I mean by that is last week on one of our lighter topic shows, we were talking hair or no hair. And we got into the conversation of women who don't shave, okay, who don't shave under their arms. And I don't know if it was you or if it was Hilo who said that for things like that it is a thing depending upon which country you're in, which culture you're in. So you can't say that a woman should shave under her arms if she lives in a country or place where they don't do it. But even here in America, if you don't want to do it, you don't want to do it. So when I say validation, only if you understand. If you don't understand where someone's coming from, like if they're if they're doing something or they're saying something or they believe something, but if you don't understand it, does that mean that they're not right? Does that mean that they don't have a little bit of street cred? I mean, why? And on the flip side, why should we have to validate ourselves just because you don't understand? So if you don't understand me, why should I continue to try to explain, and then you're not getting what I'm saying? Either you're just not getting it because you're being stubborn, or you're just not getting it because you just don't get it. I mean, which is fine. But then can you turn around and tell me, well, that doesn't make any sense, or you're wrong, or you have to, show me, whatever. But you're not. But no matter what you do, they don't get it. So I'm hoping I'm trying to make sense, y'all. I always try to make sense. I don't always do it, but I do try. So um uh anybody want to push back? Anybody want to come join me? Anybody just want me to keep rambling on? I can do that too. I can ramble. So that's what um uh I want to ask today. You know, just because you don't validate me, am I wrong? Jimmy, 2 days in a row. I'm honored. Seriously, I
Oh,
am.
thank you. It's
Can I
always
tell you,
great to be
Jimmy,
on your show.
you have that voice. You
What do you
have a
mean?
voice. I mean, you have a voice where you can be on radio, TV. You can be the Marlboro man. I mean,
Oh, thank you.
yeah,
You
you
know, I
just
have
have
been
that
told that.
voice.
I have been told that, and I actually have been contemplating going back to school for a degree in communications,
Okay,
specifically in radio.
okay, all right. Well, yeah, I'm just saying you do have
Hey,
that voice.
hi,
So
cool. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
so okay. So what do you think? Do you understand what I'm saying, or
What was the question? I'm trying to figure out what you're asking.
well, I mean, if someone doesn't get you, um, does that mean that because they don't understand you, does that mean that you're wrong?
Mm, if if s- if someone doesn't understand you, does it mean that they're wrong? Is that
No,
correct?
okay. If someone doesn't understand you,
Okay, if
does
someone
it mean
doesn't.
that you're wrong? If you're trying to explain something to me,
Oh,
if your culture or whatever you're
oh,
trying to
okay.
say, and if I just say, Jimmy, I'm sorry, I don't get it. That doesn't make any
Totally
sense.
right.
Does that
No,
mean
no,
that
I
you're
totally get you
wrong?
now. Okay.
Okay.
No, not necessarily. It doesn't mean that you're wrong. I mean, like you said, it comes down to cultural background and understanding. But let's face it, you know, every society or every culture around the world has different morals and understandings. So something to us might sound or look barbaric, but to the other culture on the other side of the pond, that's considered normal. As just a broad example or just an example, really. Um, so it doesn't necessarily mean you're wrong. You might have to find a different way to bridge or break that uh, misunderstanding or miscommunication by finding a different way to explain it. I mean, eventually it would click in their head if you could
But is
find a
it a
way.
misunderstanding? And because is it a misunderstanding or is it just the fact that you don't understand?
Oh, okay. So you want to get deeper into this, all right?
I'm trying to get all into the weeds here. So,
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. So, is it a misunderstanding or it's just the fact that you just don't understand?
I think I think it is more of a misunderstanding than you don't understand, if that makes sense. I
Okay.
everybody has the ability to comprehend something and understand it, but in the beginning, if we don't get it right away, we misunderstand it and we take it as something else until we
Okay.
figure out a way to.
You just did that trigger word. Com comprehend. You just said that trigger word. So, okay, so now I got to take it a little bit deeper. So,
Okay.
what's the difference between understanding someone, misunderstanding, and you're comprehending? Aren't those three different things? And everyone
Well,
doesn't have the ability. I mean, if you can't understand someone, you're not comprehending them, right?
right. If you don't understand, you don't comprehend. So comprehend and understanding are technically the same word because they go hand in hand. It's just a different way of saying understanding. Do you comprehend or do you understand what I'm saying? You're asking the same thing. So, yeah, I don't
Okay.
know. That's a good question. I mean,
Okay.
it varies. I Like I said, it varies on uh a couple of things. I don't mean to sound shallow or like an asshole, but it varies on a person's education level, like how far they got in education. Because let's face it, a person who has a PhD degree is book smart. They're gonna understand a lot more crap than a person in high school or with high
Okay,
school,
but you've also heard that you can be book smart
but not.
and not be street smart. So
Well,
just
those are two
because
different.
you
Yeah, those are two
you
different
know,
smarts. But
okay,
I
all
was
right,
saying I was saying in general. I was saying in general. If you want to talk
okay,
about book smart, then yes, the doctor would be more educated. But if it comes to street smart, if the doctor is not didn't come from a background where they got the street smart savviness, they're not going to understand. There's a high chance they're not going to understand something very basic. And I have met so many doctors. I have friends that are doctors. They're so intelligent when it comes to be with books and stuff. But when you say something so basic to them, they're like, "Huh? What? What does that mean? What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Oh my god, how do you have a PhD and not understand this?"
okay. Let me ask this, and I know people in the chat are probably going to push back, but I'm
What up,
playing
Ninja Bunny?
both sides here. I'm playing both sides.
Okay.
So what if you
Choo choo.
uh what do I want to say? What if you come from a country like one of these Middle Eastern places where they do the honor, where they do the honor kills, where they'll kill the daughter or the sister because she didn't marry who someone that they wanted them to marry, or she slept with, outside of marriage, and she humiliated the family. So to save the
Mm.
family honor, they kill them. Now, back in those Middle Eastern places, they think that that's fine. But if you come here, we're like, what the hell did you do? That is murder. So if we don't understand why they do it, in their
Mm.
mind, they're doing it for honor. So
Oh, so you're
are
speaking.
are they wrong?
Well, and like I was saying earlier, in the sense of culture, no, they're not wrong because that's their culture, that's their moral understanding, how they were raised and how they comprehend things. Now, our moral standings and what we comprehend, what we perceive as murder, or or unjustified killing, uh, we gonna see it as wrong. Because we don't understand their culture and understand where they're coming from, we will see it as wrong, and we will say they're not valid in their definition of why that person should be killed. I mean, there's countries that kill people for stealing, straight
Right.
up, first offense, first
Hmm.
offense. I mean, like, to me, because my background and my understanding of murder and punishment, that's a little extreme for me. You're gonna kill somebody right off the bat just for stealing, and they as a first time offense. So it is a culture. I think I understand now where you're coming from. I feel as if it's a cultural understanding that we need to get to. Um, that we, as not just a society but as worldwide, we need to come together to create a social standing for us to understand and validate each other and each other's actions, because we're going to have this rip in our world where we're not going to understand each other, and this is where war uh, and disputes come from, is not understanding each other.
Okay. Now I want to bring in because I had this topic. I post my topics on Sunday night, so I already had this topic posted. But I want to incorporate what you asked me when you first came on the show yesterday about the LBG. I can never get those acronyms right.
I
The LB,
I
I
just
can never
I got
get.
to the point where I just started calling them the LMNOPs or the alphabet
You
army, because I
know?
just can't figure out the letter combination myself sometimes.
Okay, so can you repeat to everyone what you first asked yesterday in terms of the
Okay,
taxes?
so I have read that they're trying to push a taxes like our property taxes. We have the property tax, education tax. They're trying to add another tax to that in the United States. What they want to add as a tax to support LGBTQ plus. foundations and I guess we should call it groups or reach out groups, where they reach out to these people who are LGBTQ plus, and they'll donate money so they can have like housing, whatever stuff, so to get them off the streets, and just in general to promote gay pride and parades. And my thing is, how do they justify? How is our government going to justify taxing me or people in general, saying that I'm going to give money to groups that I do not support, or I'm not getting a chance to say which ones I want to support, and they want to tax us without taxation, uh, taxation without representation.
Mhm.
Our ancestors, when they founded this country, that's what they fought against. One of the main things they fought against was the taxation without representation, and they're just gonna throw this at us to tax us more money. It's like, geez, we get taxed enough already. Give us a break, Uncle Sam, for the love of God and all that is holy.
Okay, so I'm tying in the whole validation thing. Okay, so
Okay, yeah,
apparently,
that's true, Rock.
if they do it,
Mm-hmm.
um, apparently the government thinks, and these groups think that is valid. But I say, well, if we're going to pay tax money, then you know, um, you know, shouldn't we be taxed for what black people want? Shouldn't we tax for what the Italians want? Shouldn't we tax for what Jewish people want? Shouldn't
Right,
we tax for what the
exactly.
Latinos want? I mean, we should. I mean, everything should be lumped in. So
So
if a
that's what
gay
I was getting
person
to.
came up to you and said, "Well, Jimmy, you don't understand," or do they have a valid point? Or is it not valid because, like you said, you're just taking my money and you're not even asking me. I mean, we can't even vote. Can we at least vote on
Right.
it? So
I
I mean,
guarantee you, if we if our government would be completely different if our government went on the vote by the people. And I say that because how many times have we had presidential candidates get the popular vote, but when it comes to electoral college, the electoral college goes against what the people asked for and
mhm,
vote for the other person. We've had
right.
that numerous times. We had that with
Well, I
Al
mean, that's
Gore
I mean,
and
that's I
Hillary
mean,
Clinton.
I mean, that's with every election. I mean, you have the people who win the popular
Yeah,
vote, and then you have the electoral college. So, all right, so I'm going to switch this to taxes because Lou Rock said taxes is a government scam anyway, and I am going to verbally say, Lou Rock, happy birthday to you.
happy
Um,
birthday. Wish and pray for you to have many, many more, my friend.
many, many more. So he says tax is a government scam anyway. So, um, and welcome Petty Deb verbally. Welcome Petty Deb, Power Girl, and Redneck um, Rambler. So, do you think tax is valid when we pay our taxes? Is it valid?
I will say this. I do believe taxing the people is valid, but I do believe that taxes have to be equal among the people. So you can't have one group paying 25 cents for taxes while the other group is a dollar. That makes no sense, number one. Number two, you cannot balance an economy or a country and keep it afloat if one group is paying more on taxes than the other. If you understand where I'm coming from,
So
because
okay, so
when you
do
look
you think
at
that everyone should pay the same?
there needs to what I'm saying, there needs to be an equivalent for as much as like the lower class and the middle class, and the upper class, the 1%.
Hmm.
Let's look at it this way: for us, the lower class and the middle class, we're paying a dollar, but for the upper class, the 1%, that's not the equivalent to what we're paying. It's like them paying only 25 cents for their taxes. Is it fair that they only pay 25 the 25 cents taxes while we're paying a dollar, and they want to say that's equal, that's fair? Or should they pay their dues and balance out the economy according to what they make a year, to make it balance? And
So
I'm looking at collectively as a whole. I know we all do pay our taxes. Those who do pay taxes,
Hmm.
it looks equal on on
On paper.
when on paper, but if you do the math, it's we're not really doing equivalency according to pay. If you understand
Okay.
what I'm
No,
saying.
no, no. I no, I totally get it. And Lurock says that socialism and no, we aren't turning USA into China.
Well, I'm not saying socialism. I'm not at all. I'm saying an equivalent. There's a difference between socialism and what I'm talking about. Because once you get into socialism, unfortunately, you start bouncing on the thin line of communism.
Okay.
With
So
that, I'm
going
not talking about that. I'm just talking about that if you look at history, it is the reason why a lot of these great empires struggle is because the rich weren't putting their part in. The 1% weren't putting their part in to help balance the countries, and plus they were taking advantage of the poorer people. And if we can figure out a way to equally balance it around for everybody, our government, our government would be. I feel is if you do the math and look at it, things would balance out. Inflation won't be so bad, or it won't keep trickling up. It'll get to like a plateau and possibly even drop if we can get it to that point.
well, okay. So I want to switch back to the LBGQ whatever. And anyone who is listening who
Mm.
is in one of those groups, I'm not trying to be rude, whatever, but the
And neither am I.
acronyms, I'm,
Yeah.
the acronyms. I'm sorry, I just can't get it. So,
And I
um,
would like to point out too before you continue that we're looking at this as a whole. We're not segregating those groups of people. We're not making fun out of them. We're not
no, we're
being
not.
disrespectful. We're looking at it as in a whole, if that makes sense.
No, it does. Now, what concerns me is if this. I mean, because I had not heard anything about this tax, and if they did just arbitrarily tax this, tax everyone to benefit this one particular group of people, I would say to the government, how dare you tax me to get them off of the street, to get them off of the street when we have millions of homeless people all across the entire nation who have been homeless for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, whatever.
Right.
So how come you weren't taxing us then? But now you're going to tax, us to get a gay person off the street or get a trans person off the street?
Just
Uh-uh.
because they're gay or trans? No.
No, no. And
No.
then all that lottery money that we're all paying into when people pay, go
Hmm.
play the lotto. What about that? What about all that money that you're making millions and billions on, every year?
Right.
Go use that money to go and help get people off the street. But like I said, if you're going to have a tax for one particular group of people, you have to have it for everyone. So I
Hmm.
come back to the word validation. Is it validation, or can the government stand up there and say, well, Solid Jimmy, you all don't understand what we're trying to do. If you understood us, then you would understand we have a valid point. Does that validation thing fly at that moment? Can they say that to us?
In my eyes and what I understand is the no, they really cannot validate that because how do you validate let's help these LGBTQ people when you got hundreds and thousands of veterans who fought for this country, who bled and sacrificed so much, who are even the ones who are disabled, both physically and have a mental illness. Uh, they're living on the streets. How dare you not help those people who sacrificed their life, but yet you want to help these group of people who put them. I mean, I don't want to sound like an asshole, but the way I see it is they put these group of people on a pedestal, and they wave them around as if they're entitled to something. I was like, I'm sorry, but nobody's entitled to nothing. Now, these veterans, on the other hand, they did their time in the military. They're entitled for help, not. just be thrown and tossed aside. I mean, this has been going on for years uh, since the dawn of time for America, you know, and it's quite disturbing that our government wants to do a program and tax us to help these people, but not help the people who really deserve uh, more help than what they're getting. Okay, most of them don't get the help. It's crazy. And yes, Renek's right. It's about increasing the voter base. Yeah, they're kissing ass to a certain group of people to get more votes, and they're trying to they're what they're doing is they're trying to pull the wool over voters' eyes to make it, oh look, they're helping these people. Yeah, come vote for me, come vote for me. How many times have these politicians promised certain social groups or certain groups in this country, oh, we'll help you if you vote, and they never do. They
Well,
never do.
let me ask you what Lou Rock said, because Lou Rock, I'm gonna have to push back on you there, where you said if you are poor in America, you are just lazy. There's millions of jobs. That's not true, because you have a lot of hardworking poor people over. I mean, just a lot of hardworking poor people that um, work very hard, and for whatever, they just cannot get out of where they are,
Hmm.
and they work hard. They support their families. Some of them, they may not eat because they're feeding their kids, whatever. So I think that's a just I'm just pushing back on you, Lou. I just think that that's a very biased statement to
I will
make.
say, I will say this, uh, and to what Lou Rock is saying, there, if you look at people who receive the overall portion of people who receive governmental help, there is always that 1% that are young and healthy. They can't go get jobs and work, but they are lazy. They don't do it because they're
Okay, but
getting money
I'm
off the
not talking
government.
about them. I'm talking, but he said if you are poor in America, that's telling me he's just talking about all poor people. And in Lou, if I'm wrong, please tell me.
Yeah.
But I understand what you're talking about. That small percentage who stand on the
Mhm.
corner and say, can I have some money? Then they get into a Mercedes. No,
Uh, I've s- I've seen
I
that happen before over here
yes,
where I'm
yes.
from,
I
and
mean,
it really
I
irritates
totally
me.
get that. But I'm talking about the people who are going, like I said, I don't care if you're standing on the corner on the freeway out here in California and you're selling oranges. If you're standing out there all day long and you that's the money that you're making, or you're cutting
Hmm.
grass or whatever you are doing, there are people who do that 9 to 5, and for whatever, but they're still poor. Those are not lazy people. Those are
Hmm.
hardworking people.
Yep.
So and welcome Crucible and Angie.
And I could tell you, coming from a family of migrant workers, they started off as migrant workers working the fields, picking vegetables and fruits, and they worked themselves from the bottom to the top and stuff. I agree with you. There's hardworking people that start from the very bottom and then work themselves up to the top. Uh, but I think that's what Lou Rock. Correct me if I'm wrong, Lou Rock, but I think that's what you were talking about. That 1% that can work and are able to work, but they just don't do it because they're lazy. Not necessarily the poor, but I mean, 'cause let's face it. Our society now is promoting laziness, and I'm using it kind of loosely, and I'm saying laziness. I'm saying as in you have a bunch of kids and a bunch of adults that are making YouTube videos, TikTok videos, and they're getting paid ridiculous amount of money to make videos, and they don't have any college degrees. They don't have any uh, desire to stop making videos or
But
to bet.
Jimmy, okay, but okay, let me interrupt there, because my word of the day is going to come in. Do they have a valid point for not working? If I can do a TikTok and get 2 million views and make $100,000 a month, don't I have a valid point to not go and get a nine to five job?
Mm,
and I'll throw in the other part of what I said, because you don't understand what I'm doing. So you're telling me that I should go out and get a job when I'm making this money at home. So just because you don't understand, you're telling me that I'm not valid. And again, everybody, I'm playing both sides here.
Yeah, you're
Welcome,
doing
shy
devil's
shy
advocate
lady.
right now.
Yeah, I am. I mean, I am.
I
I
like
am.
that. I
So
like that.
so
But you
I
got a
mean,
point. Yeah, I get that.
so
These people make videos for entertainment, for uh, info and stuff. I
I
get
mean,
it. Now,
look.
if
I
it's
mean,
something,
look at the Kardashians.
oh
Look, they
God,
make.
yeah.
I'm just saying they make. And I'm not. I mean, even though I don't like them, but I'm not mad at them that they are able to make this money, and people are buying into it, and they're getting endorsements, and they're making all this money. So,
Well, I
do
get upset
is
with
I mean,
people
is
like
it not valid?
I get upset. Honestly, I get upset with people when they try to validate certain YouTubers and TikTokers, and these people are making millions of dollars in a month for stupid stuff. I'm like, why are you supporting
But
the
who's okay?
stupidity?
But who's the stupid people? The people who are sitting at home making the money, or the stupid people who are clicking and going out and buying their stuff?
Both,
So, okay,
both.
so
You both got to be stupid to
yeah,
do
but
certain
okay,
things.
yeah, but okay, but if okay, but I can't be too stupid if my video is making me a thousand or $100,000 a month or $1,000 a day. I can't be too stupid, right?
True, you have some intelligence, but
So,
I'm just saying, like, these characters, like these people, like Jake Paul or Logan Paul. I don't remember which one of them it is, but I know because one of their actions got the whole family banned from Japan. One of them went to force. They call it the suicide force. I don't know how to say in Japanese, but in English it roughly translates to suicide force, where a bunch of it's where people go to commit suicide. Where this dude went in there and was being very disrespectful to the dead and to those people, and he was like practically like laughing and making fun out of the place and stuff. And Japan got very mad and upset that he was disrespecting the dead, because they're very superstitious and very religious people when it comes to respecting the dead. And I get them, I understand them, and that guy made so much money off of videos of that of making that video before he got banned. It's ridiculous. I mean, like, how do you validate disrespecting the dead and getting paid to do that? That's the kind of crap I'm talking about. Dumb,
no,
disrespectful stuff like that.
and I get that, but they're still getting paid. I want to read
Yeah.
some of these comments, and then
Go
Crucible,
ahead.
I'll come to you. Lurock says, I get that there's millions of people living off the government and don't want to work, and that's why there's so much shortages in products all over the nation. Yeah, but a lot of people, during COVID, when they got laid off, some of them are like, why should I go back to work and make this little amount of money when I can either start my own business or I don't have to work at all? So, you know, I don't know. Hey, shy lady. Lou Rock says social media makes money, but eventually things will run out without blue collar workers. There's high percentage of people that don't want the dirty jobs, and and redneck. There are a high percentage of people that don't want the dirty jobs, and and I'm going to ask, why should people have to take dirty jobs? And without the blue collar people, the people that we, you know, and when I say we, I'm talking about the population as a whole. We crapped on them. We didn't see them pre-COVID. They were these invisible people who were just there. Now all of a sudden we realize, oh shit, we need these people, and now we're almost blaming them because they're saying, I'm not going to work. So I'm playing both sides here. I'm playing both sides. Let's see. And I know I missed some comments up at the top. Oh, and I did see your comment, Ninja Bunny, when you said that killing people is just wrong, or killing is just wrong. And I want to come back to that. But Crucible, welcome.
Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, I wanted to talk just a little, very quickly,
Let's
about a
go,
more
Crucible.
broad a more broad, hey everybody, a broad definition of validate versus maybe the word valid. And again, I don't want to get into a semantical thing and look like I'm getting fancy and trying to split hairs, but the word validation or validate, it means like to confirm something or to substantiate it, is to sort of endorse it. So let's take the Kardashians. They're making a living in a valid way. Do I agree with it? No. So I don't validate it. But they're not doing anything wrong. Are they doing stupid things? Are they doing probably? Are they breaking the law? No. Are they doing anything immoral? I suppose it could depend on your view of how they dress and whatnot. But it doesn't seem to me they're doing anything immoral. So the guy standing on the street corner selling oranges or selling water, he's using a valid method to make money. Would I validate it and say, yeah, that's a good way to make a living and I would do that too? No, I wouldn't validate it. So validation means I'm agreeing with it. It's not the same as something being valid. Something can be valid all day long and I don't agree with it. So we're kind of getting into a blurry area, because just because somebody does something valid doesn't mean you have to agree with it. So I think there is a difference between the word valid and validate.
Well, Crucible, had you been on time, you would have basically heard what you just said.
I had to stay after school.
So yeah, so but yeah, okay, all right. So picking up from what Crucible said, and Jimmy, I want to come back to what you were saying, but I want to go back to what Ninja Bunny said when she said that killing people is just wrong. And we were talking about people, in some of the Middle Eastern places that, do the whole honor thing where they kill their sisters and daughters and stuff, because they dishonored the family. But you guys remember last week when Michael Key was on and he was talking about that there's some island where these people have never they've never been off this island. They don't mingle with anyone else, but they do sacrifices. Human sacrifices. Are they wrong? Is killing wrong because what the Bible says that killing is wrong? Because society says that is wrong? But if you live in in a place where you're not around other cultures or society, once again, are they wrong? Can you go over there and try to change them like a lot of things have done, that have been done, over the years? Can you try to change them because we know or think that killing is wrong? But if you live in a small society like that and that's what they do, well, so Jimmy or Crucible, any of you want to jump in on that? Okay, and then Ninja Bunny says moral, and Petty says South Carolina. Okay, America does human sacrifices. I think they do it all the time. Okay, the movie series Jackass. Oh, this is what Redneck says. If people weren't going to watch, they would not have so many of them. Okay, Jimmy or Crucible, you want to push back on what I said, or
Well, can I make a comment about your comment about the dirty jobs?
sure.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with what you're saying, and I don't agree. I think the comment about COVID is valid. I do believe COVID served as a kind of a window into how underappreciated or unappreciated a lot of these workers are, depending on where they're working. So there has always been an air of invisibility to a certain class of people, and I don't know that that's ever going to change. But to say, why do they have to do these dirty jobs? Well, there's a lot of reasons for that. And I think the primary one is probably education. So a lot of them really like those jobs. I knew guys in high school who wanted nothing to do with college. They wanted to work with their hands. They wanted to be a fireman, and they like those vocations. Now, does somebody aspire to be a dishwasher or a busboy or something? No, probably not. But the idea that society is punishing these people by making them take these jobs, I think, is a falsity. There are a lot of people who have no choice but to take these jobs. Does that mean society is abusing them? Not necessarily. But I think COVID was a real wake up call for a lot of these employers in terms of how they treat people, how they pay people, the hours that they make them work. But to cast the whole thing off on society, just looking down on these people because they're poor, they had a fairly big hand in getting to that point where they don't have any choice but to work dirty jobs. Now, regardless of the dirty job you're working, you deserve decent wages. You deserve to be treated humanely. You deserve decent hours. You deserve respect for who you are and what you're doing. If those things are missing, then I don't care what job you're doing, you're being abused by your employer. But the whole concept that they had nothing to do with how they got there and now society is exploiting them, I think that's a little slippery slope.
Well, first of all, I didn't say that. I did not say that society is the reason that they got there. I didn't say that at all. Never said that. Never,
Well,
never, never,
you
never did.
imply why the question you asked was why do they have to take these dirty jobs? In other words, this is not their choice. Somebody's imposing it
No,
on them. Who's
no, no.
imposing it on them?
I no. I was making the point that I was making was why do they have to take these jobs? Meaning that they have a choice. You can either take the job or you don't. And what we're seeing is a lot of people are choosing not to take those jobs. I'm not saying society or anything. I was not implying anything. I said exactly what what I
Yeah.
said. So
Well,
the translation may not have come across, but I'm saying that if I never went to school or I didn't know how to read or write or count or whatever,
Little culturing.
and the only thing that I could do is just what do you call it? Wash dishes or sweep or whatever. I have a choice. I can either do it
of course,
or I can stay home.
but if you
And
choose
that's
not to do it, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
and that's all I meant is that you have a choice. So when I say why do they, I'm saying you have a choice. If you went to school and you have a PhD and your parents are saying be a doctor, and you don't want to be a doctor. You want to sweep somebody's floor. You have a choice. You either be a doctor or you can sweep somebody's floor. You have a choice. That is what
Right,
I'm
but
saying.
you're making two different arguments there. The guy who's a PhD has a choice. He can go be a PhD. He doesn't have to sweep the floor. The guy who has to sweep the floor, he's either going to sweep the floor or be broke. That's not a
But
choice.
that is a choice if they choose to do so.
I have
If
to
if, if
disagree
they
with you on
if
that,
they have a choice,
Crucible. Everybody has a choice in this world.
everyone that
Every
exactly
Okay, well, okay, no, you're taking me. Wait,
everyone
stop
has
right
a
there. Stop right
choice.
there. You're taking me too literally.
But you
Do
just
you
took
think?
me
Wait,
literally.
wait, wait. So do you think if somebody said to you, Solid Blue, you said, or Jimmy, I have this job for you. It's sweeping out a garage 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. It pays $20 an hour, and you don't have anything else going on. And you say, no, I'm not going to take that job. You just made a choice. Of course,
Right.
that's 100% true. But is it really a choice to sit home all day and be broke? Yes, of course, that's your free will. But as society works, you do not pull your weight, you do not eat, you do not live. So it's a false choice.
No,
It's a
no,
moral
it
choice,
isn't.
but it's not a practical
No,
choice.
it isn't because you just said why should society be blamed, for people having to take dirty jobs? I was not blaming anyone. So now you're basically, you're basically saying what I said. You have a choice. They do not have to. If they want to sit on their butt all day and stare at the wall, that's their choice. They don't have to do it. If they're not, if society looks down on them, who am I? As long as they're not robbing anybody, taking money out of my pocket, whatever, they're
Well,
just
they
sitting
are
there
taking
all
money
day
out of your
long.
pocket. They're taking tax dollars out of your pocket because we're supporting them.
Depending upon what
Hello
they
Rock
are.
brings up a great point there. A
Okay,
very
let me
valid
look.
great
Well,
point.
okay, put it like this. Crispo, we disagree on a lot of things. And all I'm saying is this. Everyone has free will. Everyone has a choice. We may not like the choices that people have. We may not like some of the things that people do, but it's their choice. And Lou Rock, I'm sorry, I'm going to go down and look at. Okay, Holmstring says, I see what Crucible is saying. Yes, everybody has a choice. Juju. Okay, Lou Rock says, imagine 300 million people working on social media and nobody has food or water to eat. Okay, and that again, that is a choice that people have. So if so, that means that somebody stop and say, okay, well, maybe 30 million of us need to go and do something else where we can have food, food or water. But that's still a choice that people made. People made a choice of working on social media, choosing not to have food or water. That's your choice. That's the choice that you made. Charlotte says, "How come no one ever talks about all the rich people and politicians who takes taxpayers' money?" We were just talking about that. Shy Lady, they do. They talk about it quite a bit. Lou Rock says, "I don't have free will at the gas station anymore. Maybe we need more workers at the oil refineries." Oh, okay, yes, but for me, I have a choice. I drive a car that is a gas guzzler. What have I been doing? I've been riding my bike. That's a choice. I can either fill up
Yep.
or I can walk or I can ride my bike. You have a choice. You have a choice not to buy that gas. Everyone has a choice. Crucible, I'm gonna come back to you, but I know Jimmy is dying to say something. So go ahead, Jimmy.
I know. I was just gonna. I was just gonna say. It's the fact that our very lives is based on choice. You cannot wake up in a day and not make a choice. Our life is based on choice and consequence of that choice. Simple as that. So for somebody to choose not to work, they're gonna deal with the consequences of starvation, dehydration, not having a home, and eventually death because they're not eating, they're not getting nutrition and stuff. So that's their choice, no matter which way you look at it, to do the things they do. Everybody, even the gunman who walks into a school and shoots up a school, that is a choice that gunman made. Simple as that. If you want to put it down to the nitty gritty of something basic.
And Juju said, "It's none of our business what choices people make. No one knows anyone's financial situation." And Lubach says, "This is the laziest generation in the history of the human race, and it's going to
Yep.
get worse." Um,
Well, let me put it
and
to you this way too,
wait,
because our
hold on.
choice.
Let me read.
Oh,
Let me read one more. And Coach Train says, "Life's all about choices and also learning from those choices." Okay, Jimmy, go ahead.
I was gonna say that person brought up a good point. Who was it? Lou Rock brought up a good point. Yes, our generation is this generation is getting lazy, but guess what? This generation is eventually gonna learn that their laziness, that them spending so much time on the phone making videos or taking pictures, whatever, it's not gonna fly. And guess what? That generation is going to revert back to what our generation, the generation before us, and the generation before them did: is go to work, get educated, or go to work, and start living their life. Because it's the chaos theory, if I dare say, you know, because in the chaos theory, part of the chaos theory, it says certain outcomes never repeat. So once you learn from that mistake, our generation learns from that mistake, it's never going to repeat that. And I know some people are going to say, well, our government keeps repeating mistakes from old governments. But yes, but if you look at it into a whole, our country is a baby compared to the other countries. We're the youngest country uh, there is, one of the youngest countries, if not the youngest country there is. And we're still learning how to develop to become more united and better put. But it's through our choices and through what we understand and what we're learning that shapes this country. And I can see a total reset coming, a mentality reset that is coming very soon when this young generation realizes, oh my God, the older generation was right. We can't sit all day and play on our phones and make stupid videos and play video games and make videos on video gaming, because we're not going to get anywhere. We have to have people make the food or grow the food, the farmers. We have to have our ranchers. We have to have people working in the oil fields so we can have gasoline, the power industry for electricity, et cetera. It's going to revert to that, back to that. It's what's going to happen eventually. I mean, it'll take time, but this generation will find out sooner or later that the older generation was right. They just can't sit there and do nothing, because the world will not continue spinning unless, metaphorically, of course, unless they keep producing products, food, something substantial that it can keep the life uh, going. It's a economic balance, is what I'm saying. In other words,
Okay. All right. Shy Lady says, in my opinion, the laziest generation were slave owners. And Crucible, you're next, and then Shy Lady, I will come to you. So Crucible, you have the mic.
that's funny. That makes
I'll
sense.
I'll pass. I think I've said my piece on that.
All right. You will have something else you want to add in? Just let me know. Shy Lady, you have the mic. Welcome.
No, I missed kind of a lot of the conversation. I apologize. Out here trying to grill for dinner, but I'm enjoying the conversation as always. I like to hear other people's opinions, so I'm just sitting back and listening.
Okay. All right. Well, again, with the validation and choices and what have you, Shy Lady, I am going to mute you because we can hear you grilling. Okay. All right. So, and Bob, welcome. So, with the validation and choices, and everything. So, I want to go back to the choice thing, because if we don't understand someone's choices, does that mean that their choices are wrong? So again, in my question, I'm saying, is it important to validate someone only if you understand them? So change the word choice validation to choice, to only if you understand. So again, society as a whole, in my opinion, and yes, I'm saying my opinion because this is my opinion. Um, you know, we put a lot of context, or we put a lot into what society thinks. If society doesn't do this, if society, well, who is society? Who was the one who determined long ago that that society is going to be the determinant factor of what everyone does? So in this society, you may do this. In this society, you may do that. So if I'm not of this society or that one, and I have my own, am I wrong? If I make the choice, and like Jimmy said, if you make the choice to go into a store or a school or a movie theater, and you shoot someone, that's a choice. Society may say it's wrong, but you have a choice. And I like what Jimmy, when you said, when you wake up every morning, you make choices. You have choices. You have choices if you have a job, if you're going to get up, you're going to go to that job. If you're going to stay in bed 5 minutes longer than what you are supposed to, and that may seem like that's silly, whatever, but you do have choices. We all have choices. But just because you don't like them or I don't like them doesn't mean that it's wrong. So Crucible, I'll come back to you, and then Jill. Crucible, I knew you were going to say something, so I'll come back to you, and then I will go to Jimmy. So Crucible, you have the mic.
Well, it again, it doesn't matter what people make choices. It doesn't matter if I agree with them or you agree with them. But when people make what you're discussing here, and you and Jimmy are discussing, are decision making in an abstract way. without any practical implications on your day-to-day life. Of course, everybody, in a literal sense, everybody makes choices. It's elemental, it's 100% true. I was never disputing that. What I'm saying is, it isn't about me agreeing with it or not. The person who's making that choice, the example I gave, the guy who's offered the job sweeping the garage out and decides that's the only option he has. He's fully within his rights to reject that job, and he does. So he's made the abstract choice, the moral choice. That's beneath me. However he's decided he doesn't want that job, he's made his choice. Doesn't matter if I agree with it or not. He has to sit at home now. He maybe can't pay the rent. He maybe can't feed his kids. He maybe can't put gas in the car. But he's made his choice. Has he not sabotaged his life for the sake of, quote unquote, making a choice? So I would never dispute everybody's ability to make choices, and it isn't about whether I agree or not. Very frequently, the person who made the choice doesn't agree. They just have had to make a very difficult choice between doing a job that they don't feel they're qualified for or is beneath them, and living a very, very difficult life that maybe compromises the lives of their family members. So again, we all have choices, but when it comes to a practical consideration, the person who made that choice, they may not be happy with it. That's what I'm talking about them. Do you really think a person who's now has to sit home without any money and explain to their kids and their wife why they can't do certain things, do you think that person's happy?
Do I think,
So,
think that person? But I understand what you're saying, and no, they probably aren't. But what about all the millions of people who go to work and they do dirty jobs? Do you really think that they're still happy? Do you think that they're still happy? No matter if it's because of their education, whatever. Do you think that these people are still happy?
no, I
I mean,
don't.
so right, so and then with this whole thing about a practical choice, I again did not say anything about a practical choice. I'm just saying that no matter what choice people make, if it means, like I said, that they're not going to do that dirty job, whatever that job is, because they don't want to, that's the choice that they made, and whatever reason or whatever outcome it is for them, they will have to deal with it. When you have people who go on these hunger strikes, they're in prison and they go on these hunger strikes. We may sit at home and saying, "Oh, that's so stupid." You're going to starve yourself because they won't do this, or that person won't do that. Okay, but it's their choice. They know what the outcome will be. They know that if you don't eat after a certain amount of time, then you will very well probably get very sick, and you will more than likely die. That is the choice that they made. Is it practical? Maybe not to me, maybe not to you, but to them, it may be. So that person who decides not to take that dirty job, and they're not feeding their kids, whatever, I'm pretty sure they have probably thought about it. But for them, that's the choice that they made, whether we see anything practical in it or not. So I'm not trying to imply anything. I have not said that. I'm just saying that people have choices. I'm not saying anything. Don't read more into what I'm saying. I'm just saying that, again, these are just choices. Jimmy, you you have the mic. Whew.
Well, yeah, yeah. So yeah, uh, yeah. I think I understand what you're saying now, or what you're trying to say. But yeah, I mean, people who as a person, I can tell you, I have done so many jobs in the past that I didn't want and I didn't like, but I needed to take them to make ends meet and to survive. And without working and making money, let's face it, nobody could survive in this world. And it'd only be take you 3 days to die without food and water. And let's be real. Let's be real. People will make that sacrifice and do jobs that they don't like just so they can have money or do something to make money. They're not just going to sit there and do nothing because, again, it all has to go down to the basic human or basic life understanding. I must do this to ensure my survival. So,
and
to
but
say like,
there's also alternatives. So they may not want to do that job washing dishes, but maybe they'll do something else that that may
right,
be on menial labor, whatever, But
right,
it
right.
just seems like that. It just
Sorry.
seems like
Yeah.
that society as a whole has made it where we assume that certain people have to take certain jobs, and how dare you
Mm-hmm.
not take that job so I don't have toilet paper on the shelf. How dare you stay at home and not take that job so so I can have paper towels. That's
So now what?
that's what I don't like.
Yeah. So what you're saying is more like forced labor. You're gonna force somebody to take a job
I
because you
mean,
need
it's
that
just like
product.
you're going to criticize people for, I mean, for whatever reason they have chosen not to go back to work, whatever. That's their choice. But who are we to say, get your ass back to work because I need to wipe my ass? Sorry, but yeah, I went there. Sam I am says grateful people are happy doing productive
Yeah.
work. Lou Rex says no shame in working hard. Recnet Rambler says got to work the job until you get the one you want or like. Uh, Tulian, did I say hello to you when you came in? Sam I am and Brina, welcome, welcome. Ninja Bunny says, Lou Rock, to touch on your earlier comment, there are plenty of people who work hard and are not getting a livable wage. Yes, yes. So again, these people are going to work, not getting a a livable wage. What about that? Does anybody ever talk about that? Those are the invisible people that we
Mm-hmm.
tend not to see. Lou Rock says, yeah, because the cost of living has gone up out of control, and it has been over the last 20 years. Life used to be a lot easier, but the government made sure to take that away from everyone. Okay, so, Shy Lady, do you want to chime in for anything, or are you still grilling? Here, I'll take you off. You want to say anything?
She
I'm
says
good.
grilling.
I'm
Oh,
good.
grilling. Okay, you still grilling? Okay, then I will put you back on mute, or you put yourself on mute. Okay, Crucible?
Yeah, I think the whole choice thing, I mean, we're all products of the choices that we've made. Every single person walking the earth, but I think, and I'm not trying to demonize people who are in difficult circumstances, but the the choices that somebody has at age 25 in terms of taking dirty jobs or not taking a job, I would never force anybody to take a job. It's not my life. Those are not my circumstances, and I don't have to deal with the consequences of making a decision to not take a job. But a lot of times, I think what we don't want to talk about, I don't think we forget it necessarily, but we don't want to talk about it because we don't want to talk down about people. We don't want to pile on. We don't want to be overly critical of people who are up against it and are working or living under very adverse circumstances. But some people didn't have any choice. They were born into a family that was either dysfunctional or had problems, or they were in a school system that was bad, or whatever the situation was, or they decided to drop out of high school. They decided not to go to college. They decided to, whatever decisions they made leading up to age 22 or 24 or 25. And now they've got some really lousy choices. So we would never force them to do anything that they didn't want to do, but without risking a demonization or ostracizing these people, aren't we all responsible once we are in a situation? We are the culmination of all the choices we made up until that point. And if we made really, really bad choices along the way, the choices we have going forward are really going to be bad. So I just don't, I want to make sure that people, we're all responsible for our choices, but are we really? Or are some people more responsible than others? If you want to sleep late in the morning, you want to sleep 5 minutes more than you usually do, and you risk getting late to work and being yelled at by your boss. Well, that's a situation that you're willing to take chances on. But I just think we overlook the fact that there were dozens, if not hundreds, of choices made up until a certain point in life, and once those choices have been made, you've closed off other options for you, maybe for the rest of your life. So I think we all own a piece of where we are in life, and the fact that our choices going forward are not going to be that interesting based on the choices we made in the past.
I'm so glad we're having this conversation. And I'm actually gonna have a show in a little bit that I'm so happy that you did this topic because it's gonna feed into my topic. So my topic goes into saying our thought process, our choices. So are we really thinking on our own and making our own choices, or are we regurgitating what society is telling us? Is this our own thought process, or is this society's thoughts that we're regurgitating to other people? And can we push ourselves to think outside that box and have our own thoughts?
I mean, I think that we have our own thoughts. I mean, I've always said individual responsibility. I just want to read what Sam I am said. He said, "What would happen if we force all the employers to pay people 15, 20, $30 an hour? What will happen to the price of products, goods, and services then?" And then Sam I am says, "Why don't you look into Ben Carson's life? Why don't you read his book and see where he came from? He was born into impossible circumstances, and look at him." I have read Ben Carson's book. I've read his book when it first came out a long time ago, and I've read many more books from people the same way. But people still work very hard, born into impossible situations, and they're still in those impossible situations, but they still work extremely hard. They're still hard workers. So I'm giving kudos to people who, may be poor, but they still work hard. Everybody's not going to be a doctor. Everybody's not going to be an attorney. Some people may just work at Walmart for the rest of their lives, but they're still getting up every day. They're still working hard. They are not doing anything wrong, and they are no less than a Ben Carson or anyone else. They're just as they're just as good as those people, and we should applaud them as much as we applaud the Ben Carsons. My opinion. Juju said 5 people I work with came in every day. All they talked about was how much they hated the job. Head manager got tired of hearing it and asked them if she can help them with their resume. They were the highest paid customer reps in the country. Bob says that sounds like a bot topic. I've read Ben Carson's book. Also, a lot of people have read Ben Carson's book. And like I said, there's a lot of other books about people who, were just as hard and may not have made it to the stature that Ben Carson did, but I'm going to give them props. Sam I am says they should get away from the impossible situation, don't you think? Move to a place where that wage will support a living. Again, you don't know, and I've said this before, you don't know a person's situation. You don't know their backstory. Everybody has one. You don't know. So you don't know why they're still in that in that situation. Maybe they're supporting other people. You just don't know. So we can't judge those people because technically we don't we don't know them. So okay, Jimmy.
Yeah,
Did
what's
you
going on?
want to? No, your mic. You took your mic off, so I thought you wanted to say
Oh,
something.
you called Jimmy. Nah, I
Yeah.
thought you were. I don't know. I mean, I think you really hit the nail on the head there, and I think this is a good eye opener for a lot of people. We need to realize that specifically what I want to bring out, our choices, what we do, not only affect us, but it affects everybody around us. And like prime example with the baby formula shortage, because our president is not acting on getting baby formula or importing it to her, getting it, there's a national or nationwide shortage.
It is.
And that choice that he made, and mind you, we're the only country in the world that has a baby formula shortage. No other country in this world has a baby formula shortage. His actions, his choice to sit back and not get that formula into our country is causing a lot of hardship for a lot of people. And that is why I say people need to be careful choices, because it not only affects you but affects everybody around you, day in and day out, whether it's directly or indirectly.
Well, you have a point about the baby formula. That was a definite fail. Definite fail for the current administration. You are not lying there. And Juju says we can't judge. Sam I am says I'm not judging them, but I'm also not looking down my nose at them either. I may just disagree on that one. Boss says I think it's a good idea to have wage tiers in place for certain jobs. Alternative to that is communism, which sucks in the employment field, because then why would anyone study to become a doctor, lawyer, or to be on the same wages as a bin man? Okay, Sam I am says I am. A lot of our leaders are pointing the finger across the aisle for people's lot in life, and they're also telling people to go out and buy an electric vehicle when people can't afford to put gas in the vehicles that they have. Okay, so I am going to ask: does anyone have any last words? I have to end this conversation early because I will be traveling. So I will not have a show tomorrow. I might have a show tomorrow, but I doubt it. It all depends upon what my schedule's like. I don't have anything posted for it for tomorrow. Um, but I will be traveling this evening. And Lurock says, no, we babysit Ukraine instead of taking care of America. Lurock, I am with you 100%. And not just the Ukraine, for any administration who has helped other countries instead of helping America. And every administration has done it. I am 100% against it. 100%. And meanwhile, people in Flint, Michigan still don't have clean water. Boss says, I think it's a good idea to have wait. Okay, I already read that. All right, so Shy Lady, even though you are grilling, do you want to say any last words? Shy
Yes, I
Lady?
do.
Okay.
And I actually was listening, but I was kind of making so much noise with the utensils and all that stuff. But anyway, I want to say that I know a lot of the conversation was about people not wanting to work and things like that. And I met a woman who works in Chick-fil-A. She's been there for years. And she also works in Walmart. She has two jobs that she does in Walmart, and then she has Chick-fil-A. And she has to work these jobs. And she's probably around 60-ish, but she has to work these jobs because I guess she's not very educated, and she has to do this to make ends meet. But I want to say that what surprised me about her, and like I said, I've been knowing her for years, and what surprised me about her is she told me, I love my job. I love working at Chick-fil-A. I love it. And I said, what do you like about it? She said, it's the management. She said, they're so understanding. They treat me like a human being. They're understanding. And I thought that was amazing, because it's not about um, what you do, because I've worked in a job where I was making very good money, and it got to a point where the money didn't phase me. I knew that I knew that I needed a certain amount of money to live, but the extra money that this job provided, it wasn't worth it because of the stress and the management team. It was awful. So money isn't everything. And I think what's important that people need to understand and to realize is that it's a short life, and you should do what you love, whatever that is. Find out what it is and do what you love, no matter what it costs or whatever. Do what you love. Life is too short. That's all I might want to say. That's my 2 cents.
Thank you, Shy Lady. Crucible, do you have any last words?
Yeah, just to go back to the whole choices that we make early in our lives conversation. You had a show yesterday or the day before. We were talking about the role of parents, in children's lives when it comes to school shootings and whatnot. And the things that we're talking about here, if you don't have parents, then maybe a school counselor or somebody. But I remember when I was a kid, I had my head up my ass so bad it would have taken a search party to find it. I wasn't a bad kid, but I just didn't know what I was doing. I was just not, I was so inexperienced and so immature. And I was having a conversation with my mother one day. I might have been a sophomore in high school, and she said something about college. And I said, I'm not sure I'm going to college. And her face turned ashen white. And she's like, say that again? And we started having a conversation. And over the course of time, she started pointing out to me, she's okay, well, that's fine. And she didn't push back. She didn't say, are you out of your mind? You're going to college. She's like, okay, okay. And she let it go. And over time, we kept having the conversation. She says, well, you do understand that if you don't go to college, these are going to be your, they're going to be your job choices. You do understand if you don't go to college, you're going to have a different friendship circle. You do understand. And over time, she kept pointing these things out to me that by the time I got to the end of my junior year or the start of my senior year, it was obvious to me that I needed to go to college, and it changed my life. But if I didn't have a parent, or I happened to go to a very good high school, we had very good counselors, and they were constantly, hey, what do you like? What do you feel like doing? Do you like school? Do you like, and pointing out the different benefits and consequences to each of the options. Unless somebody's involved in your life early on, kids don't know what they want, and they're going to make life-changing decisions at a time when they may not know which end is up. So as with a lot of things in life, our parents and our counselors and our teachers, if they're there to have the dialogue with us, they can give us the upside and the downside of our potential choices, and we might make different decisions if we had the input of people who kind of walked in our shoes already.
I understand what you're saying, but I'm going to push back on that because everyone is not college material, and college does not change. I mean, doesn't mean that you're going to have this fantastic life. College doesn't mean that you're going to come out to be this brilliant person. And you also have people who went to college who, for whatever reason, look at the housing crisis that we've had, since the mid 2000s, since like 2000, what, 7 or so. Every time you turn around, how many people have lost their homes? How many people cannot afford to pay for the homes that they have now? These are people who went to college or had these great jobs or were laid off or had medical bills, whatever, and they're put in this situation where they are struggling. And these are people who may have had parents who pushed them, or this or this or this. You have people now who otherwise would have never have thought that they would have been in the situation that they are in. And it doesn't matter how much education you have. Things in life happens. And it has happened to people all across the board in most social economic, culture, race, whatever you are in. Life has happened to a lot of people, and it has hit a lot of people hard. So to me, college is great. I went, okay. Am I, I don't think I'm any better or any less than the person who didn't. And I think that's one thing, I think that there's a level of entitlement out there that people with education tend to look down on those that don't have it. Life happens. You do not know anybody's situation. You cannot assume. You don't know how someone grew up, and again, I'm, sticking up for the single parents. If you had anybody in your, even if you didn't have anybody and the garbage man was the one who was telling you or asking you, what do you want to do, think about it, at least that was someone positive. But you don't know what with someone's circumstances or what their backstory is. And I'm going to keep saying it, everybody has a backstory, and we all don't know what someone's story is. Jimmy, you have the mic.
Yeah, I agree with you. Nobody knows everybody's background story, what prevented them or what stopped them from going to school and get educated, or why they chose not to get educated. Um, Again, it just boils down to the fact that it was that person's choice, and they are entitled to decisions. They make that decision. They made that decision. I'm not going to hold it against them. Um, I'll try to understand why they did that, why they chose not to get educated and to get a higher paying job. They chose to do a labor work, or they chose to do other means for work, or even if they chose to be, let's just say, because let's face it, there's some people, some guys that choose to be a stay-at-home dad, why the wife makes all the bread and butter, or brings home the bacon, and vice versa. Even the women. I mean, for the dawn of time, it's always been the woman stays home and does the cooking and cleaning, and while the man went out and brought home the bacon. And now we lost that mentality, which is good. We're evolving. That it's not just a man who can bring home the bacon. The wife can bring home the bacon too, and the man can be a stay-at-home dad. There's nothing wrong about that. If the man wants to be a stay-at-home dad, great, kudos to him. God bless him, because there's not many men who choose to stay home and be a stay-at-home dad. They rather work. You know, and vice versa with the women. Some women are just born natural workers. And I'm not going to take that away from them. But as a society, we need to understand, come to an understanding why these people validate their reasons why they do what they do, and from there we can grow on to be a better nation and overall.
Okay. Crucible says, just saying it worked for me, not advocating everyone go to college. And then he says, I have a better chance of being hit by lightning than having solid. Agree with me. Yes, we disagree an awful lot.
Mm.
Redneck says, I have in-laws with a bachelor's degree, and he's mowing grass at a golf course. Okay.
That's cool.
I
That sounds
mean,
like fun.
again,
I
I
bet you
wish
get a
I'd
hell
been
of a
here from the
discount
start
on
of the
that golf
show.
course.
Well, at least he's getting fresh air. Boss says,
Yeah.
"I wish I'd been here from the start of the show. I'm missing the point. I think. Yeah, you should have been here at the beginning." And Sam I am says, "I hope you're not saying they can't start over somewhere else. People aren't that stuck. I understand the single parent situation because it's everywhere. People are not invested anymore. I spent years ripping God out of the country. They spent years breaking up families and putting them on welfare programs." All I'm saying, Sam, is that you don't know someone's backstory and you can't judge and you can't assume because, again, you can have someone who we talked about this on one of my shows a couple of weeks ago where you may have an opportunity. What if you had an opportunity to go travel
Hmm.
or study somewhere and you really, really wanted to go? But you had a sick family member or your mom,
Oh,
really
been there.
said you didn't, don't go or please, or you need to help this person. And that opportunity, you chose not to take that opportunity that could have probably pushed you way up the ladder, but you chose not to because of another situation. That's all I'm saying is don't judge, don't assume that just because
Right.
someone's on one government thing that they're going to be on it, on it, on it, on it. Everyone is not like that. Everyone is an individual, is case by case. That's all I'm saying.
Right. Right. And I've been in that situation. I gave up 2 years and about half a month of my life to help my mom take care of my dad. I was my dad's provider. It was by far cheaper doing it that way than actually paying for a provider, because I didn't have $20, and I couldn't pay them $20 an hour, or 20. Actually, it was like $23 an hour to be my dad's provider for 5 hours a day, 5 to 7 hours a day. I mean, that was way too much money. So I told my mom, you know what? I volunteer. I'll do it. I'll take care of dad while you're at work, and make sure everything's all right for those 2 years and half a month. It was by far the hardest decision I had to make in my life. But once I explained to people why I did what I did, they were like, very understanding, and they were like, "Oh, okay. We thought you were just being lazy and
But
didn't
Jimmy,
want to
but
work."
even still, why do you have to explain to someone?
Well,
Why
because
should you have to explain? No, I mean, I understand
yeah.
what you're saying, but I have to explain to you why I made a decision to stay home to take care of my parent.
Well, that's the
My,
thing. That's what I was
it's
getting
like I
was
have
going
to
to get to.
explain to
So
you.
I had to
So
explain myself, because you got to remember, society, for the dawn of time, society has a thing about, uh, about the human condition. People are curious.
They
Are
are.
curious, and they have to understand. And I mean, I'm the same way. I like to understand why people do the things they do. It's just part of what makes me me, and I want to know: are they really committing to doing what they're saying they're doing, or they're just being plain old lazy and not contributing to society?
No, I get that. I want to read something that Shy Lady said really quick. The sad part about today's college grad has a major that barely pays above minimum wage if you factor in debt also. I know people who are plumbers, work at the post office, dental hygienists, and I know a kid graduated from high school last year. He got $80,000 job because he enrolled in a tech course and got certified. And Sam, I'm gonna come back to you. We can talk about college. Crucible has exited the building, but we can talk about college and everything. But I would not advise anyone to go to college now because you're going to be in debt. People are still paying off college debt in their 60s and 70s. That's crazy. That is crazy. So honestly, if I could be a TikToker making 100,000 a month, as opposed to having 100,000 in debt that's going to take me 40 years to pay off with the interest.
Sign me up.
I mean, seriously, what decision am I going to make? You can call me lazy, you can call me whatever. But like I said, there's a lot of backstory. There's a lot of things that you have to take into account when you start saying things about people and calling people out, what have you. There's a lot of things that you have to take into account, and everyone doesn't do that. So, Chill, I'm about to end the show, but I'll let you jump on and Barrel 107 FM. Welcome. Chill, you want to say something really quick? You're late.
Yeah, see everybody smiling. I'm not late. I'm right on time.
Well, no, I'm ending early because I'm going to be traveling tonight. So,
Oh, where you going?
Safe travels to you.
thank you.
Who told you you can leave the house?
If it was Ba, I would still be standing there in front of the stove.
Yeah,
So,
that's right. Where you belong, with no socks on.
See, do you have something you want to say?
No, I just wanted to say hi everybody. How you
Okay.
doing? And I'm
All
just
right.
Good, Will. It's
gonna
been a while since I've seen you, brother. Where you been
big
hiding?
dog. Man, I don't be hiding, man. What's good, big dog?
I thought everything's all going good, man. I tell you, I'm having a blessed week. This has been a great week.
Well, let me borrow $5 real quick. No, I'm just messing with
My brother, that was quick.
See, he comes on and says hi and says, Jimmy, give me 5. See, and he doesn't mean the slap on the hand. See? Mm-hmm.
That's how it be.
All right, y'all. So, Jimmy, I'm sorry, Chill, you wanted to say something
That's
else to
how it be.
Jimmy?
You can't have no good weeks around here without letting me borrow $5 real quick. You know what I'm saying? Can't tell nobody you having a
What you
good
got,
time. They
man? What you
gonna
got?
ask for
Cash
some
App?
money, right?
What you got?
See?
Cash App, Zelle?
Yeah, yeah. But awesome show, Solid. You're awesome. You did a great job today.
Well, thank you, Chill.
I would
Chill.
love to have you co-host with me, Solid Blue, on a
I would
topic.
love to co-host with you, and I was actually going to ask you before I end the show. I would love for you to come on Friendly Differences with me and Ba.
Oh, I'd be honored. That'd be great.
So if you can send us an email to Friendly Differences, I'm putting it in the chat. Friendly Differences at Gmail. We would love to have you on the show. And y'all, I'm also trying to get somebody else on on the show. And God knows who I'm talking about. I'm not going to say yet until I can confirm this person, but I do believe you all will think this person is a hoot. And all of you know who this person is. So, anyway, with that note, everyone, enjoy the rest of your week, your weekend. I may or may not do a show tomorrow. I don't have anything posted, but Again, it depends upon what my time looks like tomorrow.
We could do one
So,
tomorrow's Thursday. I got one for you. We could do one. I'll put something. I'll give
well,
you.
I
I'll
said
give you.
I'm traveling, so I kind of have something to do tomorrow. So,
Well, we're gonna do one without you. I'm gonna just use your.
yeah.
I'm gonna
Oh,
use
you
your
just gonna use
likeness.
my? Oh, okay,
I
okay,
feel
all
you. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
right.
be
we
doing
go
some
in
traveling
there.
myself.
All right,
I
but
definitely feel you on
Jimmy,
that.
let me know what time is your show tonight, because I at least try to tune in. So what time is your show, and what's the name of it?
Okay, so I'm gonna try to be on around 8:30, maybe a little 8:30 ish.
I mean,
It's
what
Central.
Central? Okay,
Okay, so Central Time, 8:30 p.m. Central Time, and look for a pic. Like when you look at the live list, I'm gonna have a picture of Stewie Griffin. It says, "What the deuce?"
okay, all right. Well, on that note, guys, let me just give a greeting to someone. All right, guys. I will. Thank you, Brina. Thank you. Thank you.
This show is also
Enjoy the
called
rest of your
the
day.
Pirate Radio Podcast, by the way. If
Pirate
anybody
Radio
listens,
Podcast. Okay. Um, enjoy again the rest of your weekend, whatever. And yes, I'm gonna say it.
you too.
Chill. I'm gonna say it. Go where the wind takes you. See you guys. Bye.
Life's adventure. Go for it.
I will. So
Chill.
chill, Shy Lady and Jimmy. Thank you. Chill. What?
You
What?
are.
What?
I
What?
didn't
What do you have
say
to say?
anything. I was saying bye.
Oh, okay. All right. Because you know. You know. You know.
I don't want no problems. You want some smoke? You ready today, huh? I don't want no problems. I ain't scared of you though.
Oh.
Gonna be some furniture moving around this mother.
Oh, chill. Sweet Willie.
I got a good topic for y'all tomorrow. Right here at Solid Blue Sister podcast. AKA Friendly Differences. We'll have a good one tomorrow.
Uh-huh.
Without it.
So y'all have me going into my Friday music. All right, y'all. I'll see you later. Go home. Bye.